What a weird day. My morning at Wood Enterprises was a special kind of hell because they meant facing Damian Wood, CEO, perfectionist, and the bane of my existence. Everything had to be exactly right with him. Not just the reports, not just the presentations, but everything. Like today. I had barely set his coffee on his desk when his deep, infuriating voice cut through the room. "Miss Carter?" I sighed. "Here we go." "Yes, Mr. Wood?" He lifted the cup with a disapproving look. "How many sugars?" I blinked. "1." He placed the cup down like it offended him. "Tastes like 2." I clenched my fists. Was this man part robot? "I assure you, it's 1." He didn't even look up. "Fix the report formatting. It's sloppy," he said. Sloppy? I had worked on that report for 3 hours. I stormed out before I said something that would get me fired. At exactly 6:58 p.m., as I was grabbing my bag to leave, his voice rang through the office. "Miss Carter, my office. Now." I groaned. "You have got to be kidding me." I was 2 seconds away from marching in there and quitting. But what I didn't know was that my life was about to change forever. I stepped into his office, arms crossed. "If this is about your coffee." "It's not," Damian interrupted. His expression was unreadable. "I have an offer for you." I stepped into his office, arms crossed. "If this is about your coffee." "It's not," my boss Damian interrupted. His expression was unreadable. "I have an offer for you." I narrowed my eyes. "Am I getting a raise?" "No," he said. "Of course not," I thought to myself. "I want you to marry me," he said in a very sharp but calm voice. My brain short-circuited. I laughed, out loud. "Good one, Mr. Wood. Real funny." "I'm not joking," he said. The room suddenly felt 10 degrees colder. "I need a wife for 2 years," he continued, voice calm, like this was totally normal. "In return, I will pay off your parents' house debt, in full." I stared at him, waiting for him to say, "Just kidding, Miss Carter." He didn't. "What? You? This is insane," I sputtered. "Why do you want to get married and why me?" I asked. "I don't think I can answer that question for you, Miss Carter. You can take time to think about it." Think about it? Was he serious? I stormed out. But that night, staring at my parents' overdue mortgage statement, my heart squeezed. I hated that he knew I couldn't ignore this. Damn it, I can't believe this is happening to me. I said yes. I said yes to marry my boss in a contract marriage, the cold-hearted man who I hated with every inch of my body. And just like that, I became Mrs. Wood. On paper, at least. Living with Damian was exactly what I expected. Cold and distant. He had rules. We keep our private lives separate. We appear like a real couple in public. We do not fall in love. Easy, right? Except, it wasn't. Because Damian Wood was full of surprises. One night, after I accidentally dozed off on the couch, I woke up under the softest, warmest blanket and a pillow. And then one evening, I came home from a busy day of work. I was looking at my phone to order some takeout because I was starving and too tired to cook. I look at the dining table. A plate of pasta sat waiting for me, still warm. Beside it, a small folded note. I hesitated before picking it up. "Eat. You forget to take care of yourself sometimes." It was him. I stared at the plate. Damian Wood, cooked for me. The man who barely acknowledged me outside of work. The man who never let his guard down. I hated that he was hot when he wasn't being a controlling nightmare. And I hated that I was starting to see a version of him that wasn't so cold. I was falling for him. Hard. I was falling in love with my boss, well, my husband now. But it was a contract marriage. I was not supposed to. And I hated it. Because this was supposed to be temporary. A transaction. A 2-year arrangement where I kept my emotions locked away. But Damian Wood was impossible to ignore. One night, while searching for a blanket in one of the storage rooms, I found an old wooden box tucked away on the top shelf. Curiosity got the best of me. I pulled it down, dust swirling in the dim light. Inside were a few books, some old watch pieces, and a photograph. I picked it up. It was me, as a little girl. And standing right beside me was a boy with dark, messy hair and piercing eyes. Is that Damien? My breath caught. My fingers tightened around the edges of the photo as memories flooded back. A boy who used to tease me, chase me around, steal my crayons just to hear me yell. The boy who gave me his ice cream when I dropped mine. The boy who used to protect me. The boy I had forgotten. And now he is my husband. I stumbled backward, my heart racing. I had thought this was just a business deal to him, but what if it never was? What if he had always wanted this? I couldn't stay silent. That night, I walked into his bedroom, gripping the photo so tightly my fingers ached. Damien was unbuttoning his cufflinks when he turned to me. "You're staring." I swallowed the lump in my throat and held up the picture. "You kept this." His expression didn't change, but something in his eyes flickered. "You knew me," I whispered. "Not just from work, not just from this. You knew me before. We were..." My voice broke. "You were my best friend," I said, trying to hold back tears. Then, in the quietest voice, he said, "I never forgot you, Elena." I felt like the air had been knocked from my lungs. "How could I?" he continued. His voice was rough, almost vulnerable. "You were the only person who ever saw me. Even when we were kids, Elena, you looked at me like I was someone. And when I lost you, when you moved away, I swore if I ever found you again, I wouldn't let you go." Tears blurred my vision. "But you did. You made my life hell at work, Damien. You pushed me away," I said, fighting my tears. "Because I knew you hated me?" he admitted. And I thought, maybe if I made you need me, you'd finally see me again. I let out a shaky breath. "And if I never did?" He exhaled slowly. "Then at least I could love you from a distance," he said. That was it. That was the moment I broke. I stepped forward, reaching for him. His hands found my waist like they had been waiting forever. "I don't need 2 years," I whispered. His forehead rested against mine, his breath uneven. "What do you need?" I smiled through the tears. "Just you. Because I love him."